How do you flush the toilet? There's no handle. Where am I supposed to put my shoes? Where's the dishwasher? Hey friends, my name is Cherie, and I'm gonna tell you what I learned in the first 6 months of living in an RV. I also want to thank our subscribers. Thanks for following us along on our journey. I've got some pros and cons that I've listed out, about 15 of them. I didn't know what to expect when I came on board the RV with Tom. It wasn't what I expected, but it's been a lot of fun. There's definitely pros and cons. Let's get right to it. The first thing is you don't have to be a slave to the clock. I found out I am such a clock slave, and I still struggle with it. I wake up in the morning. What time did we go to bed last night? I need to figure out if I had enough sleep. We don't live according to a schedule. We get up when we've had enough sleep. We eat breakfast sometimes at noon or 1 o'clock after a workout. And we just end up having like a later lunch and a later dinner. We just keep a different schedule than most people. It works out really great for us, and I really love it. Another pro is that you don't have to be in a rush. There's no stress, unless I stress myself, which I do that sometimes. I'm guilty of that. But you really don't have to be in a rush to do anything. It really is a great lifestyle to slow down and really enjoy every part of it. One thing I was afraid of before I started RVing was dry camping, or another word for that is boondocking. And it just means you don't have full hookups of water and electricity. I was a little afraid of that because first thing I'm thinking of is showers and coffee, right? Well, I found out that boondocking or dry camping, you can still do these things, it's just a little bit different. One thing I don't like about dry camping are the short showers. When you're dry camping, you don't have water hookup, so you have to take really quick showers. So you turn the water on, you wet yourself, and then you have to turn the water off to soap up and wash your hair. And so it's not my favorite, but you know, it's one of the cons, but it's one of the few cons. So then looking at the big scheme, the big picture, it's totally worth it, and I love it. One thing I really like is simplifying. You really don't need as much as you think. So when you simplify, it just gives you more of a freedom. You actually feel like a literal weight has been lifted. It's like a physical weight has been lifted. You have less stuff to take care of, less stuff to clean, less stuff to worry about. I love it. One really good thing about simplifying and living smaller and in a smaller space is when you go shopping. And you look at something and you have to ask yourself so many questions like, do I really, really need this? Do we have the space for this? Hey, Tom, look at this. You can use this in the foyer and hang your coats up here.
What foyer?
Guess not, huh? And you end up saving money because you don't spend as much money because you don't have anywhere to put things. And I like to keep things pretty, clear and not cluttered. So I really think long and hard before I buy anything. So one thing Tom and I like to do is just go with the flow. A lot of times people will say, oh, where are you going next? Or where are you going this year? And we're like, we don't know. I mean, we have a general idea of what we want to do, but we tend to just go with the flow, and we plan our next move when it's time to make that move. And I really like doing that because really, when you make plans, they don't always come out the way you plan, do they? So we kind of like go with the flow, even during a day of adventuring. We don't have a plan like where we're going to eat or what we're going to do. We just kind of go with it. And so many amazing things happen when we do this. It's one of my favorite things. Another aspect of that is when we're on the road. When we take off in the RV and we have a destination, it could take 3 days to get there. And we don't plan where we're going to stay any of that time in between. So it's kind of like, it can be a little bit stressful, but I've learned to let that go because everything always works out perfectly. We always just try to plan like about an hour before we know we're gonna stop and figure out what's there, and we'll stay there. And we've stopped at some pretty amazing places along the way on our journey and have explored some awesome little towns and beachside communities. It's been a lot of fun. Another thing I learned is that I'm more adaptable than I thought. I thought, oh, how am I gonna live in such a small space? You know, close quarters, and Tom's always here and we're always together, and you know, wondering how is this gonna work, but it's worked out beautifully. One thing we don't have is a dishwasher. I've never not had a dishwasher, so I adapted to that and it was fine. I don't have a regular oven, so I've had to learn to use a convection oven, and I think I've pretty much mastered it. So you're more adaptable than you think you are. I've learned that I like using clotheslines. I know that sounds kind of strange, but I've never used one before. When we were camping somewhere without full hookups, I actually had the option to use the dryer that time, the first time, but I ended up hanging my clothes on the clothesline, and I prefer that. But we do have a dryer if I need one, but if there's a clothesline, I'm gonna use it. I really love our neighbors. Wherever we go, we have the friendliest neighbors. People that RV are so laid back and so friendly, and it just really makes it for a nice environment. I do like it that it's not acceptable to go knocking on people's campers. So they aren't too friendly. They're kind of like just the right balance of friendly. So another thing about the RV life is you have to be pretty good at organizing. We have very little cabinet space, and so you want to utilize all your space as much as possible. So I have like spices that are on a little magnet board on the wall. We have a smaller bathroom with less cabinet space, less space for towels, clothes and drawers, the closet. Everything is just on a smaller scale. So you have to get really good at organizing. And another thing I learned is that collapsible containers are your friends. Measuring cups, colander, they just take up a lot less space. I think that's part of the organizing, but it's a great tip. Another thing that I learned is I don't need a business suit. I work from home and I can wear pajamas all day if I want to. I typically don't like to do that. I sometimes end up staying in my workout clothes while I work, but we don't have to be in a rush to get dressed. I don't have to put on high heels. I don't have to have my nails done all the time. And there's a freedom to that. So one of the cons about RV life is that it's not on a real stable foundation, and it tends to have some movement. And I always joke around with Tom because it seems like as soon as I start putting on mascara, he starts walking around and I can feel the movement, and I'm always like, I have a sharp object near my eye, and it seems like it happens every time, and so it's become like a joke. But yeah, the RV does move a little bit, and it's just part of it. And the last thing, finally, is a pro. I have room to do my yoga in this small space, and that makes me happy. So that's my list so far in the first 6 months. Maybe I'll learn a few other things in the next 6 months and I'll do another video. Until then, thanks for watching. Thanks again for subscribing to our YouTube channel. And if you haven't, come with us on this journey because it's going to be fun.